Is it a plane, guys? Is it a bird? Is it a garden gnome? No, it is Ellen Degeneres, guys, and she is going through it in this new article that has basically spoken about what is going on in the Cotswold, and it's not good news. Completely unrelated to her show, and it's still bad news. Hey guys, it's Murad Murali, daily and consistent content. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Join Murad Nation, become a Murada, and let's get straight into this video where things aren't looking well for Ellen. Would you believe it? But it looks like there is a crisis in her marriage and things aren't really in a good place for her. Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Ellen DeGeneres' wife, allegedly wants time apart from the former US talk show host since their move to the Cotswold. Their move to the Cotswold basically was a plan to get away from America, have their time to basically do whatever they want to do and take a moment from the fame. Unfortunately, what that has done is squeezed their relationship into a box because they don't have many friends in the Cotswold, so they're constantly with each other all the time. I do believe this move made no sense to me. They had great social cycles in America. They had their own space in America, but now they're in a position where it's just both of them constantly in the wilderness, in the Cotswold, in this big house, and it just seems that the intensity is a lot more worse than it is in the Cotswold than it was back over there. I don't believe they have that many friends here. So where can they really go outside of their own couple? I just don't know. Problems have arisen since the couple's Oxfordshire move, with reports of flooding in the area where the house is located. This prompted a recent move to a different mansion in the Cotswold, around 30 minutes from the last residence. You would have thought that they would have solved these flooding issues. You would have thought that they would have found out these flooding issues, because Ellen and her wife, they both have a property business as it is. They've bought and sold properties for multiple amount of money, garnering profits. So how can they buy a house that there's flooding in and then they have to move? Beyonce and Jay-Z also bought a house in the flooding region. So I'm not sure what's going on with their solicitors who have to proof check these houses before they buy them. More problems have now reportedly arisen outside of property issues, with Miss DeGeneres, as sources have told Radar Online, that Miss DeRossi, basically Portia, wants time apart from her wife. Portia loves Ellen dearly, but she feels totally suffocated much of the time because every aspect of her life is constantly micromanaged. If Portia wants to go for a horse ride, a jog, or even a trip to the shops, it'll be met with dozens of questions via Ellen. Ellen hates going anywhere by herself, so Portia's always on the hook to be by her side, these insiders are reporting. They continue that Miss DeGeneres is extremely protective of Portia, which is sweet to a certain extent, but it is now throwing a spanner in the works. Portia wants to break out and do her own thing, and she's constantly suppressed. Portia is putting her foot down and insisting Ellen to give her some kind of breathing room because it can't go on like this. The insider said that the Arrested Development actress is seriously considering some time apart to clear her head and get her life back. If Ellen doesn't back off and listen, it may as well just drive Portia out of the door permanently. So whoever these insiders are that have gone to articles like Radar Online, they clearly are some kind of friend or acquaintance of Portia, where Portia probably was just, ranting about certain issues, and that person now has ran to the press, given tips and sold off and basically got money out of all of this. But again, this is what happens when you want to run to the Cotswold with your wife. You're squeezing the relationship, and then you're also relying on her to do things with. It can be a lot on Portia. There also was an article a couple of months ago where, employees stated that if anybody looked at Portia or spoke to her, Ellen would get very angry. This is why I trust this insider source, because it correlates with what those workers were stating in that interview via Daily Mail that came out 3-4 months ago, which basically repowered all of the workplace allegations against Ellen. Ellen was very fixated on Portia back then, to the point where if any worker was talking to Portia, looking at her, trying to humor her, Ellen would be fuming. She would be basically looking at the workers in a very degrading, rude manner to say, back off my wife, this is my person. And so I think Portia is feeling the extent of that now still as she was back then. I don't think Ellen has changed. And so with all of this basically squeezing, Portia basically wants her life back. She wants to come back to America. She wants to come back to her friends, her social circles, even, your own coffee shop where people recognize you. You just want all of that. You've deserted all of that to go to the Cotswold where you barely know anyone, to then move into a property where it has flooding issues, and then you have to move somewhere else. Trying to be friends with any celebrities in the UK. Ellen herself had a tour in the UK which mysteriously got cancelled. The tickets had to be refunded. So whatever trying to foot stamp she's trying to build here, it's not working for her. So if it's not working for Ellen, why would it be working for Portia? Absolutely not. It's messing up their relationship, and I definitely think that Portia should return back to the US, have some space in the relationship, keep in contact, but just have a few months to herself with her family and friends. Breathing space is so important in relationships. I wouldn't even be mad if you are living under the same roof, but you have your own room. What's wrong with having your own privacy? There needs to be some kind of stability and balance. And because Ellen is so hyper fixed on Portia, more now than ever, considering that she's lost a lot now, she's going to be fixated on the people who were around her back then and are still around her right now, which is why she wants to do everything with Portia. She wants to be everywhere with Portia. It can be sweet, but smothering somebody can be intense, and it can be a lot. And now it's wedged their relationship, their marriage, and now they're having some pretty big issues to the point where Ellen needs to back off. Otherwise, there's going to be some divorce-related stuff going on soon because they both are married. Even when there was a clip of them walking a couple of weeks ago that enraged so many people, you had the workers moving civilians out of the way for Portia, which Ellen basically was instructing them to do. I do feel like Portia is kind of controlled. I do feel like Portia is, more of the submissive one in the relationship and basically does what Ellen wants most of the time. And, the smothering and the fact that Ellen is the breadwinner, I think all of this takes into fold. And then, of course, with the workplace scandals that Ellen went through, it meant that she was more attached to Portia than ever. And so, they're having Cotswold property issues, but outside of that, it's leading to some pretty big marriage issues that are going on in their life as well. Yeah. I mean, Yahoo.com are also reporting it as well, saying that Portia is reportedly feeling suffocated. And she actually, after the talk show host moved the couple from the US to Europe, Portia wants to break out. Portia wants to actually return back to America. And I think that she should. That's basically where they were based. I don't see why. This is interesting because Yahoo are even claiming that they had to move because they were getting into rifts with their neighbors. And although Ellen brushed it off, that was one of the reasons that they also had to move. So, was it flooding issues? Possibly because, Beyonce and Jay-Z are facing the same stuff, but also that she wasn't getting on with her neighbors. I mean, that in itself is also believable, considering that she never got along with a lot of her workplace employees, for goodness sake. None of them got on with her. And so her neighbors obviously must have found her annoying, and that could have driven also a wedge into the relationship. Portia has to pick up the mess with all of this Ellen stuff. Portia is picking up all of the brunt. Everybody has a capacity until they reach their breaking point, and I think that Portia is just simply getting there, especially with the bad press from 4 or 5 months ago of the workplace scandal dragging her name into it. She's basically just facing a lot. She's just unnecessarily facing a lot, and this is what it's leading to. Yeah. I just feel like Ellen really isn't having a good time with these new workplace allegations that came out, the shade from Rosie O'Donnell, the flooding property issues that you're facing as well. Your UK tour, got cancelled. Somebody else from the workplace allegations gave a separate interview, and then now Portia and you are having issues, and it's also being reported. 6 stories that aren't going your way in the past 3 months. Interesting. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Comment down below. Give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. It's just 1 click to subscribe. That's all you guys have to do. I would really appreciate it. Join Murad Nation. Comment down below. And I'll catch you guys soon for another video.